Alright, hello everyone, or I should probably say anyone, because, I don't know, this might get viewed by 2 people, it might get viewed by 200, I really have no idea. It has been a long time coming since I did another video, / any video for this channel, which I am finally trying to get back together now that my life has gone from unbridled chaos to manageable dysfunction. Anyway, enough about that. Today we are going to be unboxing a Sun and Moon Burning Shadows pre-release box, which, as you can see, has its wrapper still intact. I picked up 3 of these from my local shop earlier today, and this is the 3rd that I will be opening. Now, there are 4 promo cards that come along with this pre-release. So far, I have pulled the ever so cuddly yet seemingly pointless Beware. You can get a good look at him if I can get the light right on this. Yeah, I'm not a novice or anything. And then the much more interesting Seviper, or however that's pronounced. It's been a while since I've done Pokemon. I'm very out of practice, I promise I'll get better. So I'm really hoping that there's a Zygarde in here, which will look something like this. This is a foil pulled earlier, but it will have one of these lovely little logos on it, right there. And then if that happens, I may have to go back to my shop tomorrow and pick up a couple more of these to go for the full set. And let me say, there are some very interesting cards in here, and above all else, what I'm impressed with at this point is the artwork. There is some truly wonderful artwork. My favorite by far, this foil Raichu, which, you can get a look at that. I apologize for the glare. Let me see if I can. That doesn't really help anything. But yeah, I just think that that artwork is absolutely stunning. I'll angle it this way, it's a bit better. And then for anyone that's interested in what comes below that. That seems to be standard with Raichu. Not very useful, but in this case, beautiful. Alright, let's get to it. How exciting is this? I'm doing plastic wrap on a video. Whoa. Now, I've never had pre-release boxes before, so this was all entirely new to me. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to figure out how to open the darn thing, which pretty much involves coming down here, and if there's a clever way to do it that I don't know about, I'm sorry, I'm just an idiot. I don't know, does it slide out? Well, maybe it would slide out. Anyway, I'm a dumbass, so it doesn't matter. So that's what our box looks like out of the wrap. I believe this is a new Pokemon, Necrozma? Something along those lines. All I know is that I did go ahead and earlier pull his alternative art GX card, and that has definitely been the highlight of my day as far as Pokemon cards go. That was a bit of a surprise. So, inside, we are about to find out. You get this lovely little leaflet. Fiery battles and deep shadows. Incidentally, I've only seen one Team Skull trainer at this point. Pre-release tips. Yeah, I don't really care. There's probably something in there that says, don't film yourself doing this. Oh dear. It's a repeat. Another Survivor. Well, take this opportunity to show you what comes in this. I guess you'd call it like a deck starter kind of deal. I don't know if this is actually legal to play or not. But you get 2 of Vileplume, which are rare, and then 2 Gloom, 2 Oddish, a Lily from Sun Moon Base, Professor Kukui, a Nest Ball, a Timer Ball, a random common from Burning Shadows, in this case Stuffle, very cute. Meowstic makes an appearance as a rare in this, and not sold on it quite yet. It is only a stage 2, so the allure is definitely interesting, but I just don't see that being a key part of big decks. Toxicroak has made an interesting return here. Poison Jab, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Poison Boost, if this Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 80 more damage. Then remove that special condition from this Pokemon. So, obviously, this would be used with previous iterations that would poison your active Pokemon, and I know there's a few out there, but I'll be damned if I can remember what they are. Krogunk, not that spectacular for a basic, 60 hit points, a 10, a 20 plus, which is a coin flip for 20 more. And then we've got How, another Professor Kukui, and a Great Ball, and this is all mine, you can't have it. So, that's the basics out of the way. Over here and grab my protective sleeves from the Generations booster box. Not booster box, Elite Trainer Kit. Alright, and now for booster packs. I'm going to open them in the order they came out, top to bottom. Take a look at the cover art. There is our good friend Necrozma. I really should practice saying these names before I record myself. And then that adorable little furious guy. I have no idea. I mean, I know the name of this, except I may have it backwards. That's how long it's been since I've really paid attention to this. So it's either Oho or Ho-Oh. It's one of those two. Either way, I've made a fool of myself. I've absolutely no idea who these people are. But I'm all for learning, so. I believe... Well, I can't remember what order they came out of the box in, so. I know Mr. Double Name was on top, so we'll start with him. Alright, so because this is brand new stuff, I am going to show you every card. Ediba. Mudbray, who I can't say I've come across before. Horsey. I have seen Seadra. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that there's a Sea King in here somewhere. Probably one of my 3 favorite Pokemon. Back from when it first appeared in Neo Genesis. That was my favorite card of that set. Venipede. Sandygast. Again, another example of the artwork that I think is just fantastic. I mean, granted, not a lot of this is being done by hand, I would say, but really, really impressed with some of the illustrations that I've come across so far. Oh, we have a reverse foil rare Vileplume. That's nice. Disgusting Pollen. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's basic Pokemon can't attack. That could be very useful when you consider that things like this are a basic Pokemon, as are the majority of your EX and GX cards, although not your Megas. But there is a Stadium card that allows you to evolve Grass-type Pokemon quicker than usual, and I'd be damned if I can remember the name of that either. But that combined with this Downer Shock. Flip a coin of heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. If tails, it is now confused. I don't see a downside to that necessarily. High retreat cost, which isn't great, but as we all know, there is a lovely GX Pokemon that everyone will want to have on their bench that makes retreat costs completely irrelevant. So that is going to go over here. And what do we have here? Diancie and Foil. Let's see, 90 hit points, basic. Sparkling Wish. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. Diamond Storm. Heal 30 damage from each of your fairy Pokemon. Interesting. That wouldn't be a terrible leadoff card if your goal was to build your bench quickly. Kind of reminds me vaguely of the old Hoopa EX. That when you played it from your hand, you got to search your deck for 3 basic EX cards. So that's interesting. Energies, I just don't know why. Mount Lanakila. The retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play, both yours and an opponent, is 1 more. I haven't quite figured out the strategic usefulness of that yet, but we'll get there. Kaiway? Search your deck for up to 4 fire energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Your turn ends. That's very interesting. Oh, I can think of a few uses for you. And Simisear. Nothing special here. Oh, the Flare Recharge, that's not bad. But again, these days, it takes a lot to craft a deck that utilizes 2 stages of evolution. Like, it's just not as common as I wish it was. And then this is mine. Alright, 1 pack in. Let's see what we've got. Number 2, go a little bit quicker this time. Hopefully. Oops. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. Krogunk. Saw him earlier. Pansage. Stuffle. Meowth has made a return. Fake out. Flip a coin if hit your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Wow, I do not see that making any decks. Crabrawler. I wish they'd get more original with the names. Not bad for basic. 80 hit points, 2 fighting energy, light punch, 40 damage, throw strong energy in there, the right stadium card. It'll be a good opener. We have a reverse foil common Dynamo. Aqua Shock. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any water energy attached to it, this attack does 30 more damage. I have absolutely no idea if this is the most useless card on the face of the planet since Pichu in Neo Genesis for a basic, or if there's something really, really cool that evolves from this. So, wait and see. And we have a Crabominable. 140 hit points. Gutsy Hammer. Pokemon does 10 damage to itself for each damage counter on it. Interesting. So for 1 fighting energy, you can do 80 damage. And minimal damage to yourself. And stage 1 evolution. So theoretically, turn 1, active, energy. Turn 2, evolve, energy to someone on the bench, and you've got 80 firing off at the start of turn 2. That's not a bad way to come out of the gate swinging. Water energy. Kirlia. Simisage. And Tormenting Spray. Interesting concept, poor execution. Choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals that card. If it's a supporter card, discard it. So, let's say a third of your deck is made up of trainers. Let's say that 40% of them are supporters. So that's 20, that's 8. So I don't see this being statistically viable. Like, say 8 supporters in your opponent's deck, 6 cards face down, and, you know, however many cards your opponent is holding, it doesn't make a difference if it's 1 or 10. Your odds are terrible. Okay, so 2 down, and 2 not good, which is a shame, because earlier I did quite well. I just realized I was doing that off camera. Old habits die hard. Alright, Sock, the most Homo sapien looking Pokemon I've seen in a while. Togedemaru. 80 hit points. Not bad. Wimpod. So, this guy looks ridiculous. 3 energy, well, double colorless and a leaf for 30 damage. Wimp out during your first turn. This Pokemon has no retreat cost. Like, but what's the deal with that? Well, I'll tell you what the deal with that is that it evolves into this Golisopod. And this thing is something else. So I apologize for the glare, but I'll do my best to read this to you. If this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active Pokemon this turn, this attack does 90 more damage. So for 1 Leaf Energy, you could do 120 damage. Boom. Armor Press, same cost as Gnaw here. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks, which is useful given that it only has 210 hit points. And then its GX attack, Crossing Cut, 150 damage. Switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon, And that may not seem all that useful, but to do 150 damage and take this off the table when potentially you've got, say, 18 damage counters on it, and switch it in for another one, that could be useful. So yeah, that's the story behind Wimpod. Kind of a bit of a Magikarp Gyarados situation there. Alolan Rattata. Well, speak of the devil. We have a reverse foil Alolan Raticate rare. Enhanced Fang. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have absolutely no idea what that means. It's just a gray circle. So, I'm going to have to Google that and find out what that means. And then, of course, we have Hyper Fang, signature attack for Eradicate. Flip a coin, tails, the stack does nothing. 120 hit points. Araquanid. No, was that our rare? Yes, that was our rare. Wow, that was incredibly underwhelming. Stage 2 Pokemon, 100 hit points, Bubble Net. Energy can't be attached to defending Pokemon for your opponent's hand during their next turn. I'll give that a 5. Energy. Wishful Baton. I haven't seen this one before. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is your active Pokemon and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, move up to 3 basic energy cards from that Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So, a little bit like EXP Share, I think, if I remember correctly. Mount Lanakila, again. And Wiki. Each player counts the cards in their hand, shuffles those cards into their deck, then draws that many cards. A bit on the fence as to the usefulness of that at this point. Okay, so we're 3 cards in, and all I've been able to do is show you the cool stuff I pulled earlier, so I'm really hoping that our cute little Furious guy here holds something special. Alrighty. So, Stuffle, again. Meowth, again. Crabrawler, again. Charmander. I have seen Charmeleon. No idea if there's a Charizard here or not. Sneasel. And our reverse foil is a Horsey. Color me underwhelmed. And then, oh my goodness, what a bust. Slowking? Are you kidding me? Drift ashore. Search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Good grief. Unarmed. If you have no cards in your hand, ignore all energy in this attack's cost. Wow. Yeah, don't see that making regionals. Energy. Simipour. Noctowl. Electabuzz makes a return. Not entirely convinced that the energy is worth it, but again, I have no idea if something evolves from this or not. And that is it. So, yeah. Unfortunately, all the cool stuff I got was earlier, and you didn't get to see that. So, here is Dusk Noir foil with ability Dark Invitation. Once before your turn, you may have your opponent reveal their hand, put a basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench, and put 3 damage counters on that Pokemon, and an attack of Mind Jack. This attack does 30 more damage for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. However, this is a Stage 3 card. So, well, 3rd stage of evil, 2nd stage of evil. Whatever. 2 cards go under it. So, hard to say at this point. You've seen this dude already. Didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. Light's End. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from colorless Pokemon. Interestingly, this is a psychic Pokemon, and all its attacks do not require psychic energy at all. Prismatic Burst. Discard all psychic energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 60 more damage for each card you discarded in this way. And then Black Ray GX. This is interesting. This attack does 100 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX. This damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance. This is the first GX attack I have seen that is worthy of falling into the category, you can only use one of these per game. That is brutal. You're talking about the potential to do 600 damage with a standard bench, depending on your opponent's deck makeup. And this is a basic Pokemon. It would take 2 energy, a double colorless, and one of your choice. And you could basically end the game with 4 prize cards on the table in one go. Like, if your opponent has EX, GX, M, EX, and they're being clever with moving them around so the damage doesn't become fatal, and all of a sudden this comes into play, boom, gone. That is a showstopper. Earlier, showed you this, Zygarde, which is a foil. Interesting attack. It is a dragon type Pokemon here. Apologize for the focus. We've got Land Crush for 80, and then of course we have a typical dragon attack, Core Enforcer, which, as you can see, takes a dark energy and a fairy energy. Discard a dark energy and a fairy energy from this Pokemon. What I'm going to have to read up on is if you're using a double dragon energy, you still have to do that? Because it doesn't say if you can't use this attack, but it also says do it. And being out of the game for a long time, I'm going to have to, again, hit the Google and see what's what with that. And then lastly here, again, showed you this earlier, Glossopod. Very interesting. Potential. Not by any means on the level of this, which I think is somewhat otherworldly to an extent. I mean, the hit points, that's definitely, You know, this with 250 may have been the showstopper of cards. But, I don't know. We'll see what else is out there. Long way to go. I don't think these are getting released for another 2 or 3 weeks.